Next will be Sarawak as a premium tourist destination. And I'm very sure that we have experienced Sarawak as one of the world-class premium tourist destination in our own ways, okay? And also located strategically in Southeast Asia on the island of Borneo, Sarawak's blessed with the beautiful and scenic landscapes that offer various types of exhilarating and adventurous activities. And also with more than 27 ethnic groups that speak different languages and live harmoniously together, Sarawak is indeed unique. And of course, our highest appreciation to our guest of honor. Thank you very much. All right, and now let's move on to capitalizing on this uniqueness, all right, of Sarawak. The tourism development in Sarawak focuses on culture, adventure, and nature products. So Sarawak is also promoting meeting, incentive, conference, and exhibition. And in this session, all right, we'll discover opportunities Sarawak can offer. So the next section will be Sarawak as a premium tourist destination, and in this third session, we'd like to welcome on stage Yang Berbahagia Datu Ik Pahon, anak Joyik, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Tourism, Arts, Culture, Youth and Sports Sarawak, to later to give his opening keynote address for this session. And also joining him on stage is Yang Berbahagia Dato Seri, Tengku Dr. Zainal Adlin, Tengku Mahamood, the Chairman of the Sabah Parks Board of Trustees Malaysia. Dengan segala hormatnya, dipersilakan. And also, we'd like to introduce you to our moderator. Yes, beautiful and gorgeous moderator for next session. Ladies and gentlemen, dipersilakan Ms. Lisa Oak, the Chief Executive Officer of Oak Media, Singapore.
Hello, everyone. Okay, we'll invite you to go to the roster and we'll start the keynote presentation of Sarawak as a tourist destination.
Hello? Oh, let's get things moving. All right. Selamat datang. That is our hospitality greeting, or simply means a very warm welcome. And good morning. Selamat pagi. Still in the morning, yeah? Now, our topic for the third session is on tourism. So I would like to take this opportunity, because to promote and sell a destination. And that destination is none other than Sarawak. Just by a show of hand, if I may, for foreign delegates and participants, how many of you have never heard about Sarawak? Honestly. Yeah, I saw a few hands here. Okay. How many of you have never been to Sarawak before this? Yeah, including the moderator. Yeah. Okay, so I hope by the end of my 15 or 20 minutes sharing, you are convinced and you will come back to a destination like no other places in the world or in the planet. So with that, we have been here for almost 3 days. Just to remind you all that we are on the island of Borneo, the third largest island in the world. So you must be a privileged guy. You must be a premium guy to be coming here, not only on an island, but you are on the third, sitting here and enjoying yourself in the third largest island of the world. And to add to that, if you have read some of the description made by the earlier explorers, travelers, and adventurers. They associate the island of Borneo with a lot of legend, a lot of myths, and a lot of mystery. So we want to leverage on those as part of the premium product, an experience that will be unique, authentic, you will never experience in the rest of this planet Earth. Now, some of the description, if we go through some of those either in the internet, they associate Borneo with wild Borneo. Yeah. They also have this book or an article called The Wild Man of Borneo. Probably they might be looking at the indigenous people. One of them is me. Do I look wild? And of course, 45 minutes from here, at our Sumongo Wildlife Center, there is a real wild man, our friendly orangutan. So do not forget to visit your wild friend while you're in Borneo. So indeed, there is such a description. Some also call Borneo or Sarawak as the land of the headhunters. So beware. Beware. Yes, our forefathers in the past, when we don't have stadium, we don't have arenas, we don't have a football field, they go for the head as the trophy. And you can see the skull very near, just across your hotel. You can go to the famous Fort Margarita. Few of the skulls are still hanging there, and it is now a premium tourism attraction. And of course, if you're here this morning, you might have listened to the Deputy Chief Minister talking about eco-tourism. Sarawak is indeed a land of paradise. And how do you describe paradise? I hope you will come back and you will be able to experience that uniqueness of paradise in Sarawak. Of course, now we do not practice headhunting, while the wild man is still in the tropical rainforest, but we do look for brand hunting. For example, in our digital economy, we are trying to get brands to come so that we can fast track and transform our economy based on what was discussed in the second paper this morning. Now, these myths and legend and mystery, and I've met up with a lot of travelers who come here, they said, Sarawak is still a hidden gem, yet to be discovered and explored. Yeah, we agreed with that, and we do not actually expose all those things yet, but the time will come when you will have that experience. So basically, where is Borneo? And on the island of Borneo, we have 3 nations. The eastern part of Malaysia consists of Sabah and Sarawak. The Kingdom of Brunei, Darussalam, and of course on the southern part, Kalimantan or Indonesia. Right, next. Just to share on our tourism sector in terms of our contribution to the GDP. In 2016, we received about 4.6 million visitors, contributing about 8.9 billion ringgit, which is about 8.2% of the state GDP. And as of October, we received about more than 4 million. And I'm thankful for you all because you're coming here for the conference. You will be part of the statistic by the end of this year. Thank you for your support. Right, now let's see what travelers come here for. The length of stay, we are looking at for domestics about 5.8 days, 6.4 for international. And we have a lot of youth visitors, activities, mostly will be in the national park and the wildlife center. And then let me now move on to what are the product offering that we would like to share with you. When we touch on the term or the word premium tourism destination, what comes to some people's mind, we are looking at high spender, high value, luxury, comfort. Well, judging from the latest trend of tourism, of visitors moving around, we notice that most people still want to go for premium, but what they look at in the meaning of premium is something that is unique, an experience that they will never forget, and something that is authentic. So here in Sarawak, I will zero down on the probably 3 areas, or 2 to be precise. One is on our nature, where you can have your adventure. And to me, this is something that you might not be able to discover in other parts of the world. 2, as was mentioned by the 2 speakers, the keynote speakers this morning, the multi-diversity in our culture. Some said we have, 30 ethnic groups, but definitely we have more than 27 ethnic community in the whole state of Sarawak. Okay, next. Borneo is the last frontier bastion for the oldest tropical rainforest in the world. If we do not protect, if we do not conserve, if we do not preserve, then the word frontier, bastions, will no longer be there. So this is what we would like to offer. It's just natural. It's nature by itself. And for those of us who have been in the city for too long, you might need the freshness of the air. You know, you don't need to bring an oxygen tank. It's plenty of fresh air in Sarawak. All right, next. I was just sharing you some pictures. See how big are these trees, the buttress root, and the ecosystem, the rich flora and fauna that is not only being shared by the more than 27 ethnic community, but by the many species of birds, insects, plants, herbs, and creepers. Okay, next. National Park, I will not touch on this in the interest of time. It has been mentioned in the first paper this morning, but it is actually National Park, where your adventure, where your enjoyment, where your coexistence, or if you want to call it back to nature, will start. And it is also the state government policy to ensure that at least 10% or 1 million hectare will remain as total protected area, and those will be under either the category of national park, nature reserve, or wildlife sanctuary. Now, out of that 10%, which is 1 million hectare, the total land mass of Sarawak is 12 million hectare. And for forest cover, we are looking at a target of 60% forest cover. But it is in this national park that you can see the natural wonder in terms of formation, in terms of what is being gifted by God to us. Okay? So I'll share you some pictures on this. Next. Semongo Wildlife, we have 3 weeks ago, where the wild man met the prince. Prince Charles was there. You know? I'll show you just a half-second video clip of how the wild man of Borneo met the modern man from Europe afterward. Yeah? And those are the rare formation to us, which is unique, and you can't find it in the other parts of the world. That is why we call it premium product. Okay, we move on. Just sharing with you, this is just 45 minutes from Kuching. Those two pictures up there. And the architecture of the local community, a river with a dimension of about 30 meters, and you have just a bamboo bridge, which will bring you across. If you look down, it's a lot of pebbles and a lot of stone, a lot of gravels, and it is 40 or 50 feet high. And of course, it is shaking. So they call it the swinging bamboo bridge. And that is, again, an experience that is very unique. But we can assure you that architecture remains intact. Of course, it's sustainable. At any one time, we will only allow 2 or 3 visitors to cross. You know, that is how we make it sustainable. And it is not recorded by any architect. No, not yet. You can't find the design in any architectural book. Yeah? And we are also worried that those who have come up with this design, if we don't take care of them and we don't document, they might not be around in the near future. Okay, we move on. You talk about pristine, clear, cold water. You don't need a jacuzzi. We have it there for you. And see, the children are enjoying themselves. And how many of us have that opportunity? You want to have a campfire, you want to have a barbecue, all you need to bring are your meat, your gravy, the stones are there for you to do the setting up for your barbecue set. All right, move on. I'm just sharing you some of the unique places around. Okay, next. For the more adventurous, Sarawak is well known for its vast network of rivers. And in the olden days, that was the only means of transport. And that is still one of the means of transport, but we have converted into something more adventurous. You can go using the longboat, which are being paddled by the local community. But as we advance, the issue of safety comes in. So, but you have a choice. You can use a life jacket. You can feel free as nature. So you don't have to be confined to regulatory, but of course there are people watching you in the boat to ensure that you won't go missing. Because I can tell you, we also have a lot of crocodiles. So beware. But crocodiles are also a tourism product. All right, we move on. Yeah, just some of the sharing. I think these are the pictures just to convince you. Move on. Rafting, especially among the youth, the younger generation. Kayaking along our clear crystal water. 25 minutes from here is also an annual event. And now it is becoming, the momentum is catching up. Okay, move on. Kayaking, boat cruise, longboat, I've mentioned. Next. Next. Moving on land from the river. Jungle trekking into the oldest forest, rainforest of the world. The top picture is Bung Jagoy. 2 weeks ago, we hosted about 12 tourists from China. They walk up, and instead of bringing their bag, we asked them to carry that traditional basket of the local community to put in their their belongings. And they're walking up, and these are the type of natural acorn that they enjoy as they move up and enjoy what is in the rainforest of Borneo. Okay? We move on. For those who want more extreme, you want to try, we have the Trans Borneo 4x4, either on 4-wheel or 2-wheel, or even on bicycle. The choice is yours, but we are ready to host you. Right, next. Okay, these are just some of the sharing, okay. Within the rock, the caves, the valleys, we have also a lot of nice rock formation. So we were touching on the UNESCO heritage site of Mulu, which was discussed this morning. That is one place for adventure, but there are so many other cavings, a system in Sarawak that you can also experience. And each of these caves have their own uniqueness in terms of the challenge that they will give you if you want to go for extreme sport. Okay, next. Again, cycling, I've touched on this. Move on. Angling. Angling is not only confined to the sea, but I'd like to share with you the two pictures down there. And as far as we know, in Malaysia, ikan empurau is the most expensive fish. Why? Number one, it's very rare. You can only find it in the upriver. Two, the taste is very much different. And how much is per kilo? There are two types now. Because we want to go commercial, we have a farm in Asia Jaya, which is now exporting it to Hong Kong, to China, and Singapore. It costs about 500 ringgit Malaysian per kilo. But for the wild, it goes up to 700 to 800 just per kilo. Okay, next. These are the marine life and also the proboscis monkey that you can find just another 20 minutes from here, the Ramsar site or the Kuching wetland area. Okay, next. Next. If you have not seen the biggest flower in the world, Lafrosea, or the local name is Pakma. It is very rare because it will only blossom for 2 or 3 days. And if you miss it, you will see a rotten one and a smelly one too. Yeah? So these are the uniqueness of this. And probably I'll share you the video clip just to take a break, where the wild man of Borneo meets the modern man. It's feeding time.
The one also want to have it.
Yes. He also wants to be fed by the Royal Highness. Okay, there was just a promo video, but it is something that to us is very precious. And please take time to visit it. Just to share with you, there are now 29 orangutan in that wildlife sanctuary. They brought in about 11, which was being surrendered once they were recognized as protected species. They come up, they have a family, and they have one alpha male. I think those of you who study about animals, you will know what is the meaning of alpha male. And as a result, now we have 18 born orangutan, but they are being released, but they do come back when it is feeding time. And that will be a rare opportunity that I would like to share with you before you go back. Yeah? Go and feed the wild man of Borneo. Then you already meet your other part of that species. Okay, next. Borneo is also well known for its endemic birds. Next video. Next, please. Okay, we are promoting birding as a very niche product. That was about 3 years ago. And it is now an annual event. Endemic birds, that the word itself will tell you why they are endemic. Huh? And this is why we are also sharing it with the world through the lenses that you come to Borneo, you come to Sarawak, you will be able to have a look and even hear how the birds, the noises and the singing in the wilderness. From the forest of Borneo, I will now bring you to the people of Borneo. Next. 20, not less than 27 ethnic community is part of the ecosystem. They live together with the forest. The forest is part of them, and they are part of the forest. They have their own lifestyle, custom, tradition, and beliefs. And we are fortunate that the coexistence, that we are able to live in peace and harmony, and we are tolerable and tolerant to each other. And I will also share with you one of the unique architecture in the next slide. On the top there is the longhouse. And the longhouse, for those who are not yet well versed in it, is a big row of a structure where not less than 10 or 20 families stay together. And they share a common balcony. We call it in the Iban word, ruai. And the 3 pictures that I'm sharing you is also part of the cultural heritage. This is the remnants of the colony of the British when they come here in the 18th century. Part of it is the museum. You can also find skulls inside there that reminds you of the head hunting days, and the Fort Margarita, and the old post office. Next, we move on. Just sharing with you, tattoo in Sarawak. You don't have to go to the modern tattoo studio. They can do it for you. And those tattoo, the product that they use, the sap or what you call the latex that they use, comes from the rich biodiversity of our rainforest. Okay, we move on. And another picture of the empurau. I'm not sure how many of you have tried this, but if you're not, then probably do some saving and come back, let me know. I'll try to get one for you. All right. Okay, move on. I'm now sharing you the foods, the delicacy of the people of Sarawak and the product of our rainforest, because these two coexist. That is why we are looking at it under one unique product as it is. Cake lapis is a layer cake that is modern, but also popular. And don't miss out our laksa Sarawak. Some say it is so spicy, but I think you must try your taste bud. The next, in the palms, are famous from the central part of Sarawak, is the sago worm maggots. Very tasty, full of carbohydrate. You can take it raw. And of course, the ferns or the midin, I'm sure when you have tried this. And as we move upland, in the next slide, we go to Barrio. There's so much food from the ethnic community. You know? The variety of the food, the colors of the people, and the accessories they wear. They're so proud of all this. And we need to sustain this so that our younger generation will also be able to appreciate this. And of course, the next slide, also very expensive, huh? The bird nest of Borneo. Now, we are trying to go commercial, so you will have some modern bird nest building. But in the old days, it is from the caves of Borneo that all these bird nests come from. And it is believed to have extra medical and medicinal value. That is why it is being sold at a very expensive price. Just for a raw bird nest per kilo, 1 kilo now, we are looking at about 1 to 2,000. Processed one is about 6,000. And again, Hong Kong, China, Singapore are the target area. We do not have, we can't produce enough, but let it be so that the price is still there. We want to maintain the price. And of course, the next slide, if you want spicy food, you can get it from Borneo, the pepper of Sarawak. The taste is different from those you might get from the other continents. So, with this, these are my sharing in terms of the premium product that we have to offer, that we can offer, and hopefully I've been able to convince some of you to venture and explore either your taste bud, if you're a food lover, or if you're passionate about culture, then you can explore the multi-diversity and ethnicity of Sarawak, or if you are an adventurer, nature lover, then you can go deep into the jungle of Borneo, back to nature, and hopefully these are what we look at as unique experience, rare, and in terms of culture and food, it's authentic. And the role of the government is to ensure that we will continue to set a very conducive and enabling environment to ensure that this will flourish and remain for the future generation. And how do we maintain the local community to be part of the ecosystem? Basically, the most important formula is we engage them to be part of the industry. So remember, come, experience, and have the real taste of Sarawak, Borneo. So with that, I will end the keynote address with a video presentation trying to sum up of what I've been saying, I've been sharing with you in the last 15 minutes.
If adventure had a home, it would be the vast wilderness. Grand, green, awesome, like no other place on earth. If adventure had a home, it would be filled with the friendliest people on earth. People of different races, religions, and cultures. If adventure had a home, it would be here when one arrives as a guest and leaves as family. If adventure had a home, its home would be Sarawak. explore our vast wild home of adventure. Sarawak, where adventure lives.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Ik. Well, I'm absolutely sold. I have to say, it's my first time in Sarawak, and when I was flying in on the Malaysian Airlines flight, it was absolutely beautiful. I've never seen anything like it. All of the beaches, not a soul on the. It was just incredible for me to see that. And after watching this, I'm definitely coming back with my kids. So I'll start with that. Got a beautiful, beautiful place here. So, gentlemen, I just want to ask you about the implications, this influx of tourism, because I can tell just based on what I've seen and the fact that I know for 2017 you're expecting the number of tourists to hit 5 million. That's an increase of over 7% from last year. I want to start with you, Adlin, because I know you've been in government for many, many years, almost 50 years serving in government. You've written books on nature and adventure. As chairman of the Parks Board, what are your main concerns with this influx of people that you are definitely going to get?
Thank you, Lisa. The most important, of course, it got to be sustainable in terms of our environment. Of course, we should not go for mass tourism, higher, longer stay, less is more, because the carrying capacity, a limit of acceptable change of where the tourists are going into the rainforest or wherever the tourism activities are, has to be, of course, limited. We have to determine the carrying capacity, limit of accessible change. And that's, I think, crucial. It has got to be sustainable. And don't go for mass tourism, but higher, longer stay. Yeah.
And Ik, tell us, what do you think this is going to do for the local economy in terms of GDP, in terms of money coming in? What are your estimates?
Okay, I'd just like to say that tourism is the biggest industry in the world. The United Nations World Tourism Organization Vision Study for 2020. I'm giving the global perspective first, of course, the region, and of course, Sarawak. Is that by 2020, 2,000 billion US dollars. That is going to be in the next few years. But in the context of the rising star is the East Asia Pacific, will be 1 in 4 tourists will be here. Mm-hmm. What I'm to say that will be 500 billion US dollars, so to speak. But most important is that Malaysia, especially Sarawak, is a rising star. Sarawak, I would like to reinforce what Datu Ik said there, has all the attributes to be a premium ecotourism destination, not just in the global market, because basically, of course, it's emerging, it's exotic, it's exciting, it's highly diverse, it is safe. Of course, very hospitable people, but most important, it's a value destination. It's a value destination, as you can see. And of course, riding on the mega biodiversity of its highlands, the rivers, and the seas. In fact, it's eco-treasures from those highlands, rivers, and seas, which again, what tourists want to see and hear. So coming back to what it said just now is that in Malaysia, by 2020, today, tourism receipts every week is 2 billion ringgit in Malaysia. 2 billion ringgit.
And they are eco-treasures. We say
Yes.
eco-tourism and everything eco in terms of business, but they're eco-treasures, aren't they? Because these places are getting harder and harder to find on this earth. And when we were chatting in the green room coming out here, you were both telling me stories about when you were younger and how you related to the environment. Ik, you used to walk to school and then take the river back, you said. Tell us about that.
As I mentioned earlier, the ecosystem that we had here, the forests, the jungle, and the ethnic community, they coexist. And being from a rural community, coming from a rural area myself, sometimes we take all these things that are next to you for granted. On the day when somebody says, hi, why are you destroying this? Or why are you not neglecting this and that? Only then we notice that, oh yeah, it has value. And then when we have foreigners coming, then they are the ones that actually appreciate it. So at the moment, we are encouraging local communities to be part of this tourism industry players through what we call the homestay. So this is how indirectly we would like the local community to appreciate and to protect, and at the same time, by creating that awareness, we will share with them that, look, the nature that is behind you or next to you or is with you is a tourism product. Take care of it. And with the homestay program, we have now about 41 homestays. Last year, they brought in about 4 million in terms of receipt. Not that in terms of amount, it might not be that huge, but the good thing is that we are now seeing the local community participating as homestay operators, where the tourists will come and stay with them, eat the food that we have shared with you in the clip just now, enjoy the local cultural performance and dancing, and during the daytime, they will either go jungle trekking, kayaking, or they just go into the tropical rainforest or into the farm to appreciate the daily lives of the local community. And that to me is probably indirectly a way for us to remind the local community that you are part of the ecosystem, and if you destroy the ecosystem, in the future, you yourself will also be destroyed.
Yeah, absolutely. And very quickly, let me ask you, where are you targeting this? You've got the videos ready to go. You've got this gorgeous environment. Which countries are you targeting for tourists for coming in?
Well, at the moment, of course, because of our island location, we might have some challenges. But our traditional market has always been Europe and UK in terms of course, enjoying nature, adventure, and the local cuisine.
Okay.
But lately, we are also looking at, among the young trend, will be our ASEAN partners. Singapore is one of them, because Singapore has a high expat population, and these are also our target. Lately, we are now moving into, of course, Asia Pacific. Australia is another market that come for ecotourism. And of course, there are segments we are looking at also Korea, Japan, and also China.
Okay, so close by. And Singapore is a very short flight. I can absolutely guarantee that. Adlin, as I said before, you have been involved with the environment for so many years. You were chair of the Sabah Tourism Board for 13 years, in addition to other roles. Are you comfortable? Are you comfortable with this influx of tourism? Do you feel confident that Sarawak will be able to protect its environment?
Of course, the Sarawak government, of course, is highly responsible. Of course, there is a tourism master plan there that predetermined basically the do's and don'ts and what have you, So I feel quite comfortable that the way forward, that Sarawak is doing very, very properly and what have you. But most important, I can say that because Sarawak is very big, I like to touch on the heart of Borneo, where we combine 23 national parks in Sabah, Sarawak, Brunei, and Kalimantan, 220,000 square kilometers. So this is huge, contiguous network. Again, compared to Amazon all disconnected, but it's contiguous. So we're talking about ecotourism, nature tourism. That's the area that there's so much to see. And I like to say also there are 15,000 species of flowering plants here. 6,000 are the endemic, with 600 species of birds, as I was talking just now, 50 endemic. And how we plan where the tourists to go and what have you. So as a vast countries, I'm very, very comfortable that the state government is really addressing it, so that it got to be sustainable, not only especially the environment, but also the tourism aspect as well.
All right, we're almost out of time. Let me ask you, Ik, where do you need the help when it comes to investing? And we'll throw this one to you, Datu Ik. What do you think? Investment. Where do you need investment to flow into to help you really get this off the ground?
Talking about joint venture or even direct foreign investment in the tourism sector, one of the area that we are now focusing on is on beach resort. That is an area that we think we have not actually moved into, but the directive and the decision of the government, the current government is very supportive. So for those who are interested, if you fly in from Singapore or Kuala Lumpur, you will pass by a stretch of untouched beaches. There's no settlement there except for one or two local community. And those are the area between Tanjung Dato, Sematan, and Lundu that we're looking at. In actual fact, the government has come up with a master plan, a tourism master plan to develop that area. And one of the identified or recommendation was to come up with, number one, a resort. Probably it's more about for high-end. And we're together with a premium outlet. And if the Borneo Highway will be completed in about 3 years from now, it will be only about 40 to 50 minutes drive. So that will be one of the enabler. And those of you who are interested, as was mentioned by the Deputy Chief Minister this morning, you can come and approach us and discuss with us on this area. Now, the next area, going deeper into the jungle, there was also briefly touched in the second paper just now, the hydro lake. The state government has agreed to set up what we call the Lake Authority to look into the development of lakes which are being created because of the hydro element just now. And this is another area where we can look at in some other countries like, for example, in Vietnam, the Hang Lung Bay. We look at even in Cambodia, you know, they have these floating boats, they have the cruise, water sports, and you can, they have more than about, I think, more than 10 islands, and they have designated each of the island for separate usage. And that is also another area and potential for investment for those who would like to go away from the beach, up into the interior and to be closer to nature.
Lovely.
Lisa, can you just add on investment?
Absolutely.
Because it's important because the Ministry of Tourism Malaysia is providing a soft loan of 2 billion ringgit for next year with just 2% interest for investment in tourism resorts and what have you available, and 1 billion ringgit in terms of infrastructure available, because as you know, tourism must be government-led and facilitated, private sector driven, and community-based. So this is the opportunity again, because no money, no talk, that at the further level, they have to give to Sarawak, of course, you know, part of this 2 billion for investment. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the investment incentives are there. You've got the raw product. I'm going to give the last word to you, Dato Adlin. You used to be a pilot. You were telling me you used to fly many years ago, and you flew over this when it was absolutely pristine. And I want you to tell us about that, and I want you to tell us how it looks now compared to before, and what are you going to be focusing on as this tourism project unfolds?
I'm glad to say that Sarawak has always been evergreen. More than, I would say, 80% of Sarawak is evergreen. Of course, rainforest. But even that, rainforest, about 60% is going to be permanent forest estate and natural forest. Even if you have all palm, rubber, or cocoa, there are still trees for agriculture. But basically, flying in the Twin Pioneer in the earlier days, in the late 60s and whatever, if you were over here and up to today, I'm so pleased to say that Sarawak is still green and evergreen. And the future, what the government, it will be still forever green. Thank you.
Thanks to both of you. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Yeah.
And now we're going to let you go and enjoy your lunch and make your next travel plans to come back to Sarawak. That's what I'm going to be doing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lisa Oak. And yes, we're going to have a quick photo session on stage, all right, before we move on to our next session. All right, it will be the blockchain technology and its impact on international trade. We invite everyone, please remain seated. All right, we have another session to go. One final panel discussion, all right, before our closing ceremony. All right, and of course, thank you very much to our distinguished panelists on stage.